I also like buffets. It's not a hard no. I don't want to ruin it, but it's kind of a hard no.
Well, I'm not big into buffets just because I think they're kind of wasteful.
Right. Yeah,
you know, it's like there's
line
no way
eating,
you can,
any kind of line eating. I just have this kind of aversion to
line eating. I've never heard in my life, but I just instantly.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I was like
this thing.
Yeah.
You know, like walking, just letting some people,
boot camp trays.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Every wedding ever.
school
The
lunch.
multi-use ice cream scooper for whatever it is I'm slopping on.
Oh,
It's just, I never ate school lunch. Took my lunch every day to school.
You were that kid.
I was that kid.
Did that
Took my lunch every day to school.
Did that like help you by the time like whenever you went to like college and stuff like that? Did you feel like you were like more prepared in that sense as far as like what does the school
I don't know.
me for food?
I was still that kid that lived at home during school, even when I went to college. So I didn't.
You're like, no, I still just had my sack
probably
lunch.
Deep down it was because of some sort of eating aversion. Like maybe that was the reason why I was like, I don't really need to go away because
I feel like
my late '90s college options of food were still ice cream scooped kind of. This is the perfect time.
That's exactly what I was
music
thinking. I was just like,
maybe that was the hum we were.
I wonder if that's gonna catch. But if anything, it'll help us keep a solid beat.
Right.
The
Yeah.
whole combo.
Yeah. But no. I've got some eating aversions. A lot of people would call me picky, but I'm not picky per se. I mean, I'll try stuff. It's just that I like the environment it comes from. Just
that makes sense to me.
It kind of turns me off a little bit sometimes.
I grew up a core memory is like me growing up and like my mama doing her things. Like she's gonna take the grandkids out to Golden Corral.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's quintessential like grandparent stuff.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But as like once I hit like a certain like age, it was like the page flipped and Golden Corral suddenly was not near and dear to my heart as like this is like mine and Mama's place. It's people sneeze a lot near this food.
Did you go to Golden Corral when you could actually order food items? Like you could order the buffet or something?
It's
okay.
I think
because now it's all buffet.
I've been to Golden Corral maybe twice.
Yeah.
Oh, we know.
So and one was like my cross country coach was like, guys, we've been working hard this season. I'm taking you out.
We're going to Golden Corral.
Right. You earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we're all like, he's like, I got a special place. And we roll up to Golden Corral. We're like, we just got done with state and we're at Golden Corral.
For $12.99, the world is a feast. It's all at your, it's all right in front of you.
And he was
freaking
loving it.
Kids, yeah.
He was loving it.
Yeah. So my second job? Yeah, second job. First job was a grocery carryout guy. Second job was a waiter at Golden Corral when they had. That was the
so you have some
first and only
aversions.
waiter at Golden Corral. Oh yeah, and maybe that is the.
So you never ate at work.
I did.
You
I
ate
did
at work,
because I never ate buffet at work. Yeah. So the because there was grills. Like you'd order steak and it was cooked, or a hamburger or chicken or whatever. You could order that kind of steakhouse food from Golden Corral, and you got the buffet, or you could just order the buffet.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I've had like vague memories of that. I don't have. I wasn't old enough to be the one like swiping the card kind of thing.
Right.
But like I definitely remember being in line plenty of times where it was like, hey, are we doing buffet? Or are we doing,
right? Yeah.
I think we're doing buffet today. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then me just being thrilled to run to the ice cream thing.
Sure. So, yeah. Right. Yeah. There was always the Sunday bar or whatever with the big thing of like gummy bears and stuff that you could just pile onto whatever kind of sundae you were making. But part of working at Golden Corral and specifically closing Golden Corral was taking everything off the salad bar. And the people that take the tongs and grab the stuff and throw slop it on the plate and then throw the tongs back in there and leaves food remnants in surrounding the containers. So part of your job was whenever you walked past was to pick up the thing and just kind of brush the stuff into the bottom of the buffet, but structure, right? Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the night, when you took all of the things up, wrapped it up, and put it back in the freezer, you literally took a hose. And there was a trap at the end of the buffet structure to all that stuff out of there. And so And not that it was disgusting or anything like that, but I just like clearly remember like all like wet food, salad stuff like in this large trap. It just cleaned out daily. The people of Golden Corral were very clean. You know, I'm not disparaging Golden Corral by any means, but it was just like a collection of that over a 12 or 14-hour workday or whatever was
sitting
a lot.
under various amounts of temperatures and lamps.
Correct.
And
right.
Mixtures of like foods and oils that aren't designed to be mixed together.
Yeah, maybe some dressing got in there. Maybe some. You know.
No, that's how it was. My high school job was Gaddytown.
Oh yeah,
and
so there you go.
It was a similar instance of just.
The majority of your food had a crust on it.
Yeah, though, like I'm fine with pizza now. I don't want to say like I voided for pizza for like a decade or anything like that, but I don't know. You eat pizza for lunch 4 or 5 times a week every day for years because it was my high school job. I had nothing else better to do, and I'm not going to go walk to the mall to go get Chick-fil-A. Like we're going to have some barbecue pizza.
Right. Yeah.
So eventually, you just kind of suffer. But I don't know, the salad bar I think probably grossed me out more because there's dressings, the oils, and they parked it right next to Jellos,
right,
ice creams, and cakes, and all the cakes have different color icings.
It sounds horrible. Like I just
Gaddytown ice buffet or cake buffet doesn't sound good to you.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
So then you just get like the random little kids who are like, "Oh, mom's not looking. I'm gonna swipe me a piece of cake
for sure with my hands."
Yes. Every time.
Yeah.
So it looks like smears of blue and pink icings just across the buffets at times, and it's just like, all right, hopefully I can manage to get some time in between bussing tables to go clean the Jackson Pollock someone just created on the soda fountain.
Expressionist art on that. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. Well, then we've talked about food.
Well,
you got a food story?
Oh, well, I mean, I have plenty of food stories.
You worked at Holiday Foods.
Yeah.
Right?
I worked at a golf course kitchen, too.
Golf course kitchen.
I was a chef.
Right.
Yeah. I flipped patties and that kind of thing.
Nice. What was the big seller at a golf course kitchen? Burgers, I'm guessing?
Yeah, burgers. Yeah. Chicken.
Hot
but
dogs.
I mean, like, we would just be... No, actually, I don't remember. I don't remember making any hot dogs.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But no, our kitchen, like people would come to have our, bang bang shrimp tacos and stuff.
Yeah. It's always weird that you hear about those little, like hidden gem places. Like I grew up, my neighborhood whenever I was growing up was next to a drive-in theater.
Oh, awesome.
It was great. I mean, it's a 10-part podcast series on.
Yeah, no wonder you're so into movies. Yeah,
it's the origin story. But was incredibly famous for their fried chicken. So
there we go.
The movie
people minus you.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I didn't know there's not a fried chicken fan. But the people, like the movie would start at, 7 when it got dark, 8 o'clock at night or whatever. And it was always a double feature. But they would open up at 5 for people to come in just to buy their fried chicken. So people, like they're not making people buy tickets, but like they just could come in and buy
go ahead and get
buckets of fried chicken,
park,
or stay for the movie, eat dinner or whatever there you wanted to. They had a big playground so kids could go do whatever and get worn out before mom and dad wanted to watch the movie. So it was cool. That was really days. It was fun.
The hidden gems that made me think about like the military specifically, like real old school, like 50s, 60s era military where everybody like really like glamorizes like the artsy era of it, right?
Sure.
That is, I think, probably when, to my knowledge, a lot of like the bowling alleys and everything really started getting upgraded because there's not a lot to do in a lot of these places because most of the military bases are in kind of cheap land that was like easily acquired once upon a time. So being able to go to the bowling alley was like, it was kind of like going to like the local diner.
Sure. Yeah.
So being able, you go there
to eat and then you bowl before or after and then just make an entire evening out of it.
And like over the years of that, like to this day, like for most part, like they'll shut down multiple places across the board, across the base before they touch the bowling alley. Cause it's kind of got like this like honorary, like historical monument piece attached to it. It's a big piece of the culture. It's very old school Americana, and the best food on base is always at the bowling alley.
Well, and it's also, I mean, I would think, again, not a soldier or whatever, but I mean, you can comment on this, but like it's the one thing that maybe feels normal, that it doesn't feel like a base, right? You know, even if you're in the food place, it's the, you know, the store is still a commissary, you know, like it's all these kind of places, you know, it's still the military, but for the 2 hours that I can spend bowling, you know, I'm not a soldier. I'm just a dude, right? Yeah, well, with my buddies, you know, kind of thing.
It's easy to just kind of, you feel like you're stuck in that same like circle. Like whenever you're just in like the same spot for so long, you're just kind of like doing the same day on loop. So being able to find a place where you can like borderline like teleport and kind of put a pause on everything.
Right,
like
sure.
That's,
yeah.
I think that's the coolest part about it.
Yeah,
but no, the best food always at bowling alleys.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought was cool is being able to go and in Spain specifically, they had all Spanish food. So most of the time it's just like, I don't know, it's just like your concession stand style food. It's a bowling alley. Right. You know, you get like your chicken tenders and your greasy fries and tots, whatever. But you go there and it was nothing but like different croquetas and like tapas and stuff. And they're just like, looking at the menu, it's all in Spanish. They don't really like conform.
Don't even try to. Try.
Like, no, they're like, no, you're here.
This
like,
one's fine, I guess. Yeah, right. No. Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoy that aspect. Like, make me work for it a
little
bit.
Yeah.
But
if we're going full culture, let's do it.
Yeah,
right?
no. But I remember seeing that and trying that was my first time having authentic Spanish food was at the bowling alley on base. Because in my brain, I was just like, no, if I'm gonna do it before I go off base and have food, I'm like, I gotta go to the bowling alley and get like the real deal.
And probably incredibly different than what. Way different. Right?
1,000%. Yeah,
it's cool. All right, Lucas. Any cool food stories before we make an introduction here?
Cool food
we want to
stories,
jump into it.
This thing's gonna get chopped to pieces. As far as like a timeline,
it's like a 35-minute intro.
No, not tough, man.
Good.
Not tough, man. No.
Well, I mean, you guys, I think, you know, we've talked about this and welcome to the Better Human podcast, the revival, the return. Should we call it the return?
The return?
The return.
Yeah,
Better Human. So the Better Human podcast, the return. So we are, I mean, from consistent episodes, we're kind of pushing a year from like the last time when we did a bunch of these. Especially since starting, you know. So I am here today with two of my new favoritist people. Go a little ways back with one of them.
Yeah.
Brand new to one of them, but equally as cool and as fun. Markus and Lucas, both with Offscript Studios, for all your content, videography, and photography needs.
Oh yeah.
Social branding, social media, all the things.
All the things.
Located right here at the Offscript Studios studio.
At Offscript Studios.
Yes.
I call it a dojo.
At the dojo, whatever you guys want to call it. It's up to you.
It's like a creative dojo.
Located in the very back hollowed corners of Optimize You here in Newburgh. And, you know, we've spent a lot of time together here recently kind of developing this place, although she probably looks vaguely familiar to some previous episodes, but lots of cool stuff here.
A lot of movement.
Some renovations.
The renovations, right.
Yeah.
Right, and going forward, we'll keep renovating, keep adding to the collection. So, I always and like shout out to Dakota. You know, like whenever we were doing this last time around, you know, wanted to see who the guys were behind all of this stuff. You know, and so Dakota moved on, doing his thing, killing it. And now you guys are here, and we are multiplying the functionality of what we were doing, and that's kind of why Better Human took a little bit of a back seat, but we're at a point where we can start doing some stuff now. So, who wants to go first?
Oh man, I mean, well, it's like you said. I mean, we've just been busy.
Yeah,
we've been really busy. It's fun to like, I don't know, just like sit down and actually like kick off some stuff and feel like we can get a lot of like creative energy off our chest in that sense. We've been I don't know, gigging like crazy and just going around, and there's a lot of catching up to do as far as wrapping our brains around our roles and everything that we need to get accomplished to be successful.
Right.
So
It's it's been really fun in something that would typically be frustrating, but in particular with you guys, fun trying to figure out what the vision should be for all this.
Yeah.
You know, just because I think we're all incredibly like-minded, and we all work, and we're all executors. You know, we want to get things done. But one of the things I've enjoyed the most is, you know, we opened up a new Columbus, Indiana clinic this week. So we've spent some time up there together. We went to the Arnolds together. We've had a lot of road time together. So it's been really, really, really cool, getting to know you guys. And it's neither one of your stories are normal
That's fair.
by any means. And even, you know, like Lucas, knowing you since December-ish.
Yeah, I think we met in December.
Yeah.
But I didn't start until January. So
right,
we only, you know, it was over email, that kind of thing.
Right, yeah. But like the day-to-day probably since January, and just kind of casual work hanging out. But whenever you get on the road together, it's like, what? Like, you know, like it just like, my favorite thing that I've had on here, and it's happened several times, is that, you know, you have these fucking better human, awesome people on here that just like casually say this like wild shit that they've done.
Yeah.
You know, like it's just like, yeah. And then, I mean, we had a guy that, Rodrigo, you know, if you're, if you're speaking, from Brazil anyway, he, Portuguese. That's what I was looking for. That's what I was going for. But, you know, he's just like casually talking, and, you know, he's like, and then, you know, then there was those couple of years that I was on the Olympic committee for Brazil. I had to do, and I was like, you're just casually saying these things. Paul Lindbergh is another guy, like spec ops guy. You know, you're just, it's like you're watching a Call of Duty, you know, or a storyline unfold of you for us nerds, you know. And, you know, just casually saying, yeah, you know, that so I lived 10 years in this embassy, and, you know, and I was shaking hands and going to parties. I'm like, yeah, right. You know, like you guys don't shake hands. You're not, you know, he was like, I wasn't really doing like ambassador duty. I'm like, gosh, this is. Each and every podcast of the Optimize You Studio is sponsored by Optimize You Evansville. At Optimize You Evansville, we help you take control of your health, performance, and vitality through cutting-edge hormone optimization, peptide therapy, athletic recovery, weight loss, and sexual health solutions. Whether you're an athlete looking to maximize recovery, someone striving for sustainable weight loss, or just looking to feel like your best self again, we used advanced diagnostics and personalized treatment plans to get you there. Our science-backed approach helped optimize energy levels, mental clarity, muscle recovery, and overall well-being. Because feeling great isn't optional, it's essential. You ready to elevate your potential? Let's get started today at Optimize You Evansville, where normal is not optimal. Just casually kind of mention this thing. So, Lucas, I want you to kick off. Tell us all about Lucas, the man Washington.
Man, I'm not good at these.
I think you are. I think you just don't give yourself enough
You
credit.
actually have a radio interview tomorrow. So
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You know,
So let's start with that. Why does Lucas have a radio interview tomorrow?
I sing, and I have for a long time. Since high school at some point, you know, so, you know, it's been a little while now. But yeah, I used to be in a band called The Strangers, and we toured all over.
Nice LP. Yeah.
Right here.
Show them
Album
right.
here.
Hey, nice.
But yeah, we used to tour all over like Midwest, and we'd done some cool shows. And now recently, you know, kind of post all of that, you know, that's a whole story. But I just landed a gig at USI, opening for the Driver Era.
Yes.
Which I'm really excited about. Right. Which, in case if somebody doesn't know who the Driver Era is, Ross Lynch's band and his brother. I forgot his name, but
Ross's brother Lynch.
Yes, Brother Lynch. Ross Lynch is from Austin and Alley. He plays Austin, you know.
I hope they don't listen to this.
His mom loves them both equally.
Yeah.
She told him specifically.
Right, yes.
I may insert a voiceover, you know?
You're important too, honey. Yes.
But one of them's Disney famous, right?
Yeah. Ross Lynch, he plays Austin and Austin and Alley, which is, like whenever I was growing up, that was one of the shows that was on.
Yeah,
you know?
right. Yeah.
My house, a friend's house, your cousin's house is just kind of on.
Right.
And so it's just kind of surreal. Whenever I got offered the gig, I said yes immediately. I had no idea who I was opening for. And I genuinely thought, like, who could they have? Because I tried to get the gig last year. It's like an annual event that they put on. And they kind of told me, like, well, no, we're kind of going in a country direction, so we don't know if you're going to be a good fit. So, I said, yeah, okay, well, keep me in mind for the future. I understand, kind of thing. So, whenever I got asked to do, I'm like, it's got to be somebody, like some rock band. I'm like, who are they going to have to bring a bunch of college kids to a rock show?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call Driver era rock. They have some hints of it. It's more of like an indie pop kind of, but they are a band.
It's a different sound. Yeah. It's a different,
yeah. No, I think it's going to work fine, honestly. And I kind of like shows that have a contrast like that. Whenever you have two bands in the bill that have the same sound, it's kind of like,
it's just a continuation. Like there's no like, did anybody leave the stage?
Yeah,
right?
It's just real long.
Right.
It's just a real long night.
Yeah, it keeps the night interesting.
35 song set. This guy must be tired.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited to do it. A couple of the guys have played with me in The Strangers, so we're gonna play some of those songs, as well as some new songs that aren't out yet. We're kind of wrapping up recording and that kind of thing.
Awesome.
But it's just gonna be under my name. Whenever they reached out, I didn't really have a band put together, so I was like, just call it me. And then I just kind of had a bunch of hired guns, some of my friend musicians, and then we put together a set, and it's going to be great.
So, but give us some history, all right? Because yes, awesome that you're playing this show on April the 11th. It's a very, very special day. Very special day. But
the most special day.
Might be the most important day of the year. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Why are you saying that?
Somebody has a big birthday that day, but
it's Derek's birthday that day.
5-0. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It doesn't even make sense, but.
We might have to bank a pre-birthday podcast episode.
Right. I think we'll have I'm just going to pretend all those people are there for my birthday.
We'll bring a cake. We'll throw it in the audience.
Exactly.
It'll be fine.
We'll call our band Derek's birthday,
Yeah, right. Exactly. Derek's birthday.
Yeah.
That's a great band name.
Yeah, it's not bad.
That's right. So first of all, how old are you?
I just turned 24.
Just turned 24.
Mm-hmm.
So when did this musical kind of journey go from, hey, I picked up this, or I started singing, and then I met up with this buddy? Give us the backstory. It's great.
Well, so I'd say sometime mid high school, and I played bass guitar before I started singing. And my good friend Rylan, who lived the street behind me, and we kind of grew up together, he played guitar, and I mean, he was like, even then, like in elementary school, he was playing like songs that everybody's like, "Oh, Rylan's such a good guitar player," that kind of thing. So I just wanted to start a band. I just thought it'd be so cool, Long story short, we did start a band. There was like some other guys in our high school playing drums and that kind of thing, and then we brought on Caden Ray, who you've met, well, both of you've met. And at that point, we were just kind of looking for musicians, like anyone else who plays music. So we reached out to him, and he played bass way better than I could. And so I was just like, well, maybe I'll just be the singer for now, that kind of thing. And then it just led to, I'm just going to be, who else is going to do it, And I didn't really want anyone else to do it, at that point.
Do it, might as well be the
but
best.
it was just kind of like the whole thing of like, I didn't think that was something that I could or really wanted to do at first. And then after, we met some guys in Newburgh. We were jamming with them for a while. Then they just kind of dropped out of the thing. I actually specifically remember we were at Arby's one night after one of our rehearsals. I mean, at this point, they weren't real rehearsals, kind of just like hanging out.
Right?
Yeah.
Someone has a garage.
Right.
Well, no, actually,
their parents don't care.
They had a church. Church side building with like a whole stage and like production set up. And yeah, definitely a couple times the like pastor would come in and be like, "What the hell are you guys doing in here?" And I'm like, "I don't know who you are. I don't know. I'm sorry."
Praising a little too loud.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
But anyways, no. So one night we were at Arby's, and the drummer looks at me and he goes, "So what would you guys do if I left the band?" And I said, if find a new drummer.
Right.
And the next day he texts, he's like, I'm out. So I'm like, okay. And then, so, you know, kind of top of mind, we have arguments amongst the three of us of like who was the one to actually reach out. But we reached out to another guy that he was a couple grades ahead of us. We were really good friends with his older sister. And then he became one of our best friends, Noah. And he played drums. So we asked him, you know, we want to come do a drum rehearsal for us or, you know, with us. And he's like, I mean, sure, you know. So then we just immediately started writing songs. We never really had an interest to just be a cover band and like transition into, we just wanted to do it immediately. So then at some point, I don't know how long we really did that for. We just kind of rehearsed and just did a bunch of random stuff. We did learn covers, you know, to kind of fill out the set.
You have to.
My aunt was like, you know, it was at this point, it was a wedding shower. You know, maybe it was a baby shower. One of the two, you know, I don't know. Some sort of shower. One of the showers, you know. And she's like, so the Santa Claus Village Rec Center, she rented out. And she's like, maybe your band can like set up after we're done, because we're done at noon, but we have it rented out the whole day. I'm like, yeah, sounds good. That's awesome. Now, she thought we were going to bring a few friends, but no. Like, we literally, you know, told everyone we could think of to come to this show. And the way the Village works is you have to kind of like call ahead of time or and say like, you know, I'm having an event. And then you give everybody a password. So then they come to the gate and they say the password and they're let through.
That's
so so we had passwords and shit, but eventually they called us. They're like, so okay, so what's going on? It's like, they're like, yeah, just let people in. I mean, come on.
Right, yeah.
So anyways, it was like, we got like 100 kids to just show up for our first show. And everybody was like moshing and I mean, we weren't playing metal or anything, but they were like jumping around. And I was crowd surfing, you know. And it was amazing, you know. After that, you know, Noah was just kind of like, yeah, I want to join this band for sure, you know. And so then that kind of just kept going and going and going.
How old were you guys, like, right when you did this?
I was 18, you know, something
so
like
awesome.
that. Yeah.
I just don't have that. That's not a confidence I found until
I also played in a garage band at 18, but it was that. It was. We never got past we're just kind of hanging out and playing stuff.
I never got past the like, do I have any friends that wouldn't make fun of me if I asked them to join a band? Like, I never even got to that. Like, oh no, that's what would keep me up at night. The thought of being made fun of for having the idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I didn't ever really worry about being made fun of whenever it came to that. I mean, at that point, I had already been made fun of for so many different random things. And I was just kind of like over it to some extent, and I wanted something. I just was like, I just don't care. I'm just gonna fucking
that's
so and like I had voice cracks, and it was like I had embarrassing moments. You know, I didn't know how to like, you know, I didn't know the words and shit, but it's just also like just whatever. Just got through it's a part of it. You know,
yeah, man.
So, anyways, just like you know, a series of events passed. Eventually, you know, we just did shows and around town and that kind of thing. And then Noah, unfortunately, passed away from an accidental overdose. And, you know, so before that happened, we recorded all of our songs as demos in one of Ryland's old houses. And then Wally Opus Records is we were his first band that he recorded. Right, West Luttrell.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we had a bunch of demo recordings, but they all just kind of sounded like not amazing.
Yeah.
Because everything was kind of mic'd up in one room. So a lot of the, you know, amplifiers bled into the drum mics. So it was, you know, things weren't really well isolated, that kind of thing. But after Noah's passing, we wanted to finish the record with him on it. So we were able to, you know, Frankenstein those old recordings and then overdubs. And then I redid all the vocals. And then, you know, we made it work, and you know, so the record Noah's playing on the whole thing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So out of that, we were like, we're doing an album release show, you know, and someone brought up you know, what if we did it would be so cool if we did the Asher Theater, you know, in Jasper, Indiana. It's like a 400 cap theater, you know, and at this point, the most we've ever pulled to a show was that first show, was you know, like 100 people, and then we've had like we play like the fall festivals or something where there's a lot of people there, but they're not like there for us, right, yeah. And then we've done a bunch of random shows where, you know, 15 people in a restaurant or whatever. So anyways, And we're all, so everybody kind of like laughed for a second, yeah, it'd be cool. But I'm like, no, let's actually like do it. So, we reached out, and then, it was like, all right, we're going to sell out this fucking show. Kate and I went door to door, hand out flyers. I mean, everything. Every local radio station you could imagine, and any press we could get. And then it was literally just messaging every single person we know, like, we have this show coming up. Yeah. And I mean, we were maybe 5 tickets from selling it out, but we had enough like crew and random shit where it's like, all right, sold out. But yeah, they even whenever we got to the Astor Theater, they're like, well, we don't really have local bands. Like, the only thing we're going to let you do is rent it. And then they're like, good luck, kind of thing. Cause I mean, they're having touring artists that they couldn't even get half capacity, Oh,
wow.
It just kind of depends on the draw,
Sure.
Jasper's an interesting enough place where it's not like a big city, so it's hard.
Nice town, terrible to get to.
Yeah, well, and it's also like local people might like it, they might not. I mean, there is a local audience for sure. It's just, local shows can be hard when they're in smaller areas like that, depending on who's coming. Anyways, so yeah, it was pretty much the greatest night of my freaking life. So then post that, it sold out, album release show. And we had a local opener, and I mean, it was great. It was our first concert. So then after that, Wes kind of booked us a whole tour. And then we just started going to every city, and it was bars and random places, but it was just like any place that we haven't been. We just started going.
And you're still 18 at this point.
At this point, the time had passed in between Noah's passing and kind of restarting things. So I may be 20.
Okay.
20, probably about 20. Yeah. 20 sound actually, probably 19, 20 around this time. So all summer we just every weekend from like it was like April, May to like July, we would just go to a different city. So it'd be, Indianapolis, Nashville, Cincinnati, something along those lines. And I remember sitting there, the Ladder and Life lineup had come out during the middle of this, this whole thing. And I was sitting there and I showed Rylan, this is a 2022's Ladder and Life, this is about ready to come out. And I was like, dude, you think you're going to go to Ladder and Life? Like, Red Hot Chili Peppers there and shit, it's going to be pretty cool. And he's like, man, we should just be fucking playing that shit.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to go to it. I want to play it. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Like, we should fucking play that shit. So I don't know how are we going to play it. Yeah. So, I did some looking into. So it turns out there's this competition where it's like a Twitch stream. You enter in your band, and then, it's like this bracketed competition where every week, fans are voting for, who moves on to the next round. Yeah. And I think when we got it, so my dad and I were the only two on this stream, and I submitted a song, and then I was just spamming play strangers, over and over and over, like hundreds of times. And then finally they noticed, like, is there a band called The Strangers? Like, what? And I literally had just submitted the form like 5 minutes before I got on the middle of the stream. So like they definitely did not know until, they had no idea.
Nice.
So then they threw up our song, and my dad and I were the only two that of people that we knew on this stream. And we just like, it was at this round, it was just like a yes or no to get in the competition. It was just like a 85% yes.
That's awesome.
From one of our songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then it was, okay, how the fuck does the rest of this competition work? And every week it was really confusing. And I even talked to them. They're like, we kind of do that by design, because we're trying to we want bands to actually try. And we want bands who are going to be committed to their, to their craftsmanship and to their performance. Like, we don't want some random thing who just, people who can just, tell a bunch of people. We want to make sure their fans are committed to getting them. And fortunately enough for us, it's like, we're from Santa Claus, Indiana. Like, yes, there have been musicians, there's bands that have been around, but no one had done anything like this. And I mean, as far as I know, and I'm pretty I try to stay, pretty aware of all of that. Yeah. Right. So the community support was just incredible. I mean, we'd have hundreds of local people voting for us every week, and it was like we had to tell them specific directions. Yeah. But even one of the early episodes, there was a guest host and it was the bass player for Breaking Benjamin.
Cool.
And yeah, well, no, not cool actually, because
That's right, yeah.
because we played our song and
Not
he's
cool.
like, yeah, I don't really like this. He's
Oh,
like, yeah.
no.
He's like, you guys
We
aren't
don't
going to
really
go
like
very
you, Breaking
far.
Benjamin.
You guys aren't going to go very far, you know.
Oh,
And no, we won the whole freaking thing. So I mean, he can
know?
he can kiss my ass, you know.
Yeah. Where were you at, Breaking Benjamin?
Yeah.
Yeah, they probably were there too, but I mean, they've actually been to a lot of them.
That's
But
right.
You were busy
but
blocking them.
the
in,
amount of
and a
people that
couple
I've
hours
heard of saying Breaking Benjamin concert is boring, you know.
later, if I had a dime.
Personal
Yeah.
vendetta.
So, anyways, so yeah, no, we just progressed our way through, and then the semifinal round was in. We played at the Troubadour in Los Angeles, opening for Crown the Empire, and the singer for Pierce the Veil, Vic. He did a little like surprise acoustic performance, and there was some other just musicians there that I was just like, oh hey, I know you, you know, that kind of thing. And Danny Wimmer was watching us from the balcony. Just, you know, I got to meet him a few times.
Danny Wimmer, for people, he's the promoter for every major rock festival in the nation, right? I mean,
For the most part, there
yeah.
are some other big ones, but yeah, I mean, Danny Wimmer is like very
Like he doesn't
much
do
a part
Coachella,
of
but he does
right. And
all
he
the
like
other stuff.
rock, and like he does Bourbon and Beyond. He does Welcome to Rockville. You know,
He does
there's
Rockfest in Kansas City. That was a big thing. A lot of people went to.
I haven't heard that one, but he every Danny Wimmer concert festival you go to, there's like deals for like tickets to the other 3 or 4 that he does. You know?
yeah, and so I mean, he's also a great guy too.
Yeah,
and it's great because he's just like a nice.
I know him. Yeah,
No,
Danny.
yeah, no,
He's a
but
great guy.
but like he's just like a chill, nice
seems
guy.
cool.
You know, he's cool. And it's like it's just amazing because he's you know, like whenever I was talking to him, I was like, you know, you realize like you're one of the people like keeping rock alive. Like I,
yeah,
you know,
for
how,
sure.
like how much
No
I
joke,
appreciate
right,
that.
yeah.
And he's like, no, that's not, you know, that whole thing. But I'm like, you know,
He's a humble guy.
Yeah.
no, he's very nice.
When he walks out, you know, they eventually bring him out on stage at all these festivals or whatever, and he seems like he's just like in sweats and you know,
Just hanging out.
you know.
Yeah, well, he helps manage his bands and things like that too, you know. And he really, what's great about the DWP festivals too is like they are trying to actually, you know, support young artists and like push them up the line to get you know, to get another generation of, you know, rock and
well,
metal.
they realize that's the lifeline, right? I mean, that's you have to get these names out there, and that's.
But you could always transition your festival into some like pop thing that's gonna that's gonna bring it's like you said, like financially speaking, they could you know, they could figure it out, but there's like a real passion there. Is, you know, what's really admirable about it.
Yeah, we go to one every summer, or at least have for the past couple, me and my kids, and it is always just fantastic. I mean, they're well done. It's organized. It's, you know, it's maybe not for him, but you know, like for the spectator, it was. Yeah, it's always great. You know?
No, for us, it was. I mean, like everything you dream of in like a backstage kind of like music festival artist perspective experience. It was that. Like we had our own dressing room next to like bands like the Struts and Dirty Honey. Jelly Roll was just kind of hanging out. You know, Papa Roach is just around. You know, I met The Warning. They were pretty cool. They like played like right after us too. So like we were walking off stage, Warning was walking on stage, you know, and I was like, oh, hey. Yeah, this is cool.
So when I mentioned the casual mentions, this is where this comes into play, right? Yeah. So it is.
We just had Jelly Roll.
You know, we're just casually talking about music, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, like went to Sonic Temple. You know, last summer was the one we went to. This summer we went to Louder Than Live because the lineup was incredible, and he was like, I played Louder Than Live 22. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, no, like my band, we played in 2022 Sonic, Louder Than Live. I was like, okay, well, tell me more about that, because you know, it's like it's just again just casually mentioned that I you know, so
just like fun facts on the baseball card. Like, okay,
and I hope to do more. You know,
right? Yeah, but. Yeah, just so.
I hope I will do more.
Yeah, it is.
And then the stories that kind of came out of that, we can filter those in. You know, we can save those for. We don't want to give all the way.
Yeah,
all
of
the
course.
good stories. You know, but Stranger's album, toured all over the nation.
The tour basically we from like album release to the end of tour, we went from being able to pull 15 people maybe of our friends to a show to playing the main stage at Louder Than Life to, a few thousand people.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's over the course of a few months. Really just shows you how fast. I mean, you got to have good music. But
Sure,
if you have
right,
good
yeah.
music, you tighten up your performance. I mean, and then you just have drive. I mean, there's so much you can do. And you also have to be strategic about it, of course,
Everybody stream The Strangers.
Yeah,
Or go buy the album.
Yeah. I mean, so that's the thing. Everything's pretty like shut down with The Strangers right now. After Louder Than Life, there was like just this immense pressure of, what do we do? We're not doing enough. There's, and we need to get an album out, and there's just it's on and on and on and on. And so a lot of turmoil, started to build amongst the four of us, and that plus also still just kind of coping with Noah's passing.
Well, there's so much. I mean, like, A, you're still young. B, you've had this kind of skyrocket effect. From we're playing my aunt's whatever shower it was that she had at nighttime in May to in September. We're on the main stage at Louder Than Life. Where do we go from here?
And it never really, like, Wes Luttrell helped us a lot. Like,
Sure,
he was kind of an adult figure a lot. But I mean, there was, it was still, there's still a separation where it felt like the band, like us four, we're all on our own as far as like decision making. And then everyone had a different idea of what direction we should take. Not necessarily the music, but just the band, and it just, it gets complicated,
Sure.
Prior to that, you just always feel like you have like an adult kind of helping you through those things. And this is our first like real world, like on our own job, like thing that we wanted to make something, but it was just incredibly difficult to some extent.
Do you feel like the addition of rest in peace Noah, and I heard you mentioned he was a couple years older than you guys coming into it. Do you feel like that was a kind of helped, kick things off a little bit, or like because you're still these 18 or 19-year-old kids kind of jamming together. You get somebody together. Hey, no, wait a minute, guys, we can really do this, and it's just comes from nothing more than just having a couple more years of life under his belt.
Yeah, I mean, well, we didn't like. Yeah, there was some, I think I'll always see him as older than me and always smarter than me. I never will feel like I've quite caught up to his intellect.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that knew him thought, this is one of the smartest people we know.
Gotcha.
I mean, he was he was an incredibly, rare person to be close with and like, and have all those attributes, So yeah, there was, but then, Thielen joined the band. And Thielen is also like one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. Like, he just has like a database in his brain of everything music, but it's hard to say because we didn't really get that far with Noah, but we're all still dealing with the trauma of it. Yeah. So it's like moving things along is difficult, and it just builds weird tensions, I mean, there's a lot of like little instances that I could point, but it's really just like macro looking at it. It's just this, I think it was just this combination of different feelings, emotions, and egos, and those.
Sure,
You're young, and there's a lot of different ingredients in there.
And there's different strong suits, so it's like, I was really good at the networking stuff. Well, then someone's telling me, well, you're not doing it right. Well, it's like, well, you literally aren't doing it at all. And it's, that kind of stuff. And which again, I'm not trying to like blame or, whatever. It just is what it is at this point. So it eventually just, we did end up doing a lot of cool stuff after Louder Than Life. I mean, we basically went to Bloomington, and then there's a amazing music scene there.
Yeah.
Play Bluebird?
Oh yeah, we play. Oh,
that's like one of my favorite
Atrium,
venues ever.
Bluebird.
Love Bluebird.
Bluebird has an amazing, on-stage sound. I love Bluebird. We met a lot of incredible musicians, and I mean, some of those musicians are now, like well, and just people. But one of my good friends I met that was running a house show, Kingsley. I mean, he's a producer in LA. He was just working with Megan Thee Stallion, and Dr. Dre was listening to one of his tracks the other day. You know, just shit like that. He was recording in some crazy studios. You know, so there's just an amazing network of people, and there was an amazing like community. Like we would play in 400 or 500 people in someone's backyard. You know,
It was and was welcome. Like it was encouraged.
Right. No, those were some of the best nights of my life. You know, and then So after that, we kind of fizzled out a little bit, and at this point, everybody kind of separated, did their own different music projects and things, and and I think we've kind of rekindled our relationships, and I think at some point, if it's right, we'll do more things together, that kind of thing, but I definitely am really like eager to get back into the whole thing, and this show coming up, opening for Driver Era, I think is a great start. So
is this the first time you've been on stage in how long?
Well, I have done, post Strangers, which we kind of probably 2023 or 4 is when we kind of broke things off. I've done like 2 shows. Okay. It was just some local gigs for fun. Like I need something.
Sure.
But like last November, we did a gig. Caden Ryland and I did a gig on Haney's Corner, and shout out to Zach Marks. He played some drums. Yeah. And then, that was just like a Halloween show for fun. Okay. We just did some, covers and that kind of thing.
Did you dress up?
I think I had a wizard hat.
It's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
Wanted a little more costume action, but a wizard hat also fine.
But so anyway, no, so this show coming up, this is the first like major show I've done in years.
Call it a stadium show.
It's an arena show. Yeah, they're probably selling. It's probably going to be 3,000 cap room, and I think there's like 300 tickets left. So, no, this is a legitimate arena. There's like legitimate, booking agents and the whole ordeal, which
And that's when? That's April 11th, right?
April 11th. Yep, yeah. April 11th. So
nobody should forget that day.
No.
Big day.
Well, why would we?
Just remind me again.
Really stuck in my head for some reason or another. But then, like the other path of your life is that you just recently graduated college.
Yep.
Philosophy, film degree, and have made cool stuff there as well, and have big ambitions for kind of pursuing that as well. As we all do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, I was super into film before I started doing music, and I always kind of wanted to do film stuff, and then I went to USI because the band was in Evansville. So I was like, well, I want to do that, but I guess I'm going to college. Cause we're still early stages band. So when I went to college, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And then I took a couple intro philosophy courses that everyone does, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, this is the only interesting thing here for me, really.
This is it.
There was a film studies program, but the film studies is more centered around like literally studying like movies, not making them, not creating things.
Yeah. You're not looking to be Siskel and Ebert. You're looking to be right.
Yeah. So when we did our first tour with the band, I left school and I had done philosophy stuff, and I did a couple of film studies courses. But whenever the band was kind of falling apart a little bit, I was like, well, I'm going to go back to school, I guess. And I guess it's time. When I went back, Dr. Wooden, McManus Wooden, who was the longest running Geico caveman.
Yes.
And he's done all kinds of cool projects too, different movies. He had a film called Rocksteppy. He had like some things to do with, little cameo appearances in John Wick. He was on set for multiple John Wicks.
His wife is also a teacher in Henderson County, who is my daughter's favorite all-time teacher.
Oh, wow. Good. Yeah.
So
he'd be a great podcast guest.
He should be too. Will he wear the caveman, Geico caveman outfit?
No, I think he actually might get
licensing issues with that.
Yeah. Well,
Can it be like?
He's more than the Geico caveman.
Okay, I'm sure he is. All right, fine.
But in all fairness, though, it's like it's kind of cool.
Just do the Geico caveman voice, maybe.
Could you grunt a few times? Just not for them, for me.
No, it's surreal looking back at those commercials because it's like all prosthetics and stuff. But then you hear his voice and it's like, whoa.
Oh my God, Dr. Wooden?
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
But you,
well, he was like really actually starting to do real film school stuff, you know. Like the first course I jumped back into was a short narrative film where we literally the whole semester we worked on making a 10-minute short film. And I mean, it's from like script to location scouting to, you know, cast call. I mean, the whole thing.
Gosh, that's the dream.
And it was it was amazing. It was like the finally I learned like something that's actually like teaching me, you know, these skills, you know. And you know, and I thought that paired with my philosophy was great for film.
Yeah.
And then the other courses like documentary filmmaking was you know the same kind of thing. So yeah,
made
now
a documentary.
Yeah, I did make a documentary.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right now, it's being submitted to some like film festivals and that kind of thing. So it's not quite out yet, but you know, when it is,
the main focus of it soon. Future podcast guest on here.
Yes, with my old drummer Teelan's dad, Todd Atterbury, who is an incredible character. You know, he's amazing to listen to.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
Yeah,
man. I mean, he's like a ghost story.
He's a spooky
enthusiast. I mean, but like
looks. I mean, just the whole nine.
He's written books, you know, and
gather round, children. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, like
oh my gosh,
you know he's got scary stories. You know it.
Well, actually, you know, the documentary I framed it that way, but it's great because like. If anyone would like be a fly on the wall, it's like the in between scene conversations were like total contrast.
Right? Yeah. I can see it. But as far as like a main character for something like that, he nails it. You know.
Oh yeah, no. He's an incredible person in general. Hopefully, he said he's down to come do this podcast soon.
Yeah, well, for sure. Maybe a recurring guest. Come tell us some stories, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically, right after school, it was just like one of my friends reached out to me saying that your whole podcast studio was looking for somebody.
Thinking of something here.
Yeah, thinking of something here. Something along those lines. So I got your email through the grapevine, basically. Yeah. And then I just reached out and I said, hey, I'm kind of looking for something.
Sure.
So, so I just came to Optimize You one day. I met Derek. We sat down, and it's funny because I think initially it was like, yeah, I don't really have anything for you, but but I'm willing to, meet you. So I'm like, it'd be cool. Might as well,
Yeah.
So, one thing I've learned with music stuff is like, one, it's fun to just make friends with cool people and just like find out and, just be friendly in a community, that kind of thing. But also you just never know what's going to lead to what.
Oh,
you just don't.
No,
so,
so
I'm like, might as well, maybe something down the road, maybe it's like they're working on a movie sometime and they need a camera op or something like that, So I came and met Derek, and then shortly after, through a series of email chains, I was just kind of hired, and then I met Markus on my first day, and then we just kind of became,
whip this idea together.
Yeah, and it's just like a kind of like a partnership, situation, It's whatever you call it.
We'll call it a pseudo co-op, I think is what.
And like going back to what we were kind of talking about earlier, like I had no idea what to expect, like the type of people that were going to be around here. Because like I just like
we're all medical folk.
Yeah,
right?
medical, and then like everybody looked pretty like ripped and stuff, and I'm not really. So I was like, man, are they gonna judge my lunches or something? But no, it was like I was like very pleasantly surprised that everybody seemed. I felt like I clicked well with everyone. Everyone was like incredibly inviting and nice and. Except for Trinity. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's so good.
And so I've just been, I think, I just pretty much landed the best gig I could have had immedially after school, especially,
Very cool.
So I'm just happy to be here. And that is my music to film to now.
To this day, right? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's amazing to me kind of how you know, how things work. And I'm always kind of one of these guys that I'm like, okay, is this like some sort of like predetermined, you know, if I'm thinking of it philosophically, right? Is this some sort of predetermination path that has happened? Because what else could explain these paths crossing, kind of doing these things? Or is it just like, here's a ball of chaos and we're kind of wielding it to our, you know, our will or whatever.
It's a mixture of both, but it's interesting because, you know, in hindsight, I look back and like kind of you know, especially with like the whole like ladder in life and band success and just the different things, like, you know, it becomes incredibly surreal whenever you have like a vision in your head and then all of a sudden you're just sitting there. And yes, like that leads you to making certain decisions that kind of guide you in those directions. But I mean, like, even like the colors of the space that you're literally sitting in, you know, whenever that is like happening, and, you know, the exact locations, you know, everything, it's really surreal. And I think in hindsight, this is like pretty much what I was thinking. I'm like, I don't know if anything like that exists, but I just think that that's where I kind of want to end up. And then it just happened, like pretty much out of nowhere, you know, just kind of get a phone call one day. So, yeah, it's strange. I have a hard time balancing that whole thing because it feels so real. Right. But then I always think about all the counterexamples of just like people who it seems like, you know, they're not fortunate enough to be able to just like envision themselves into a situation. Right. So it almost sounds like a privileged way of thinking. At the same time, it's strange.
Yeah, there's definitely some, you know, everybody, you know, loosely uses the term imposter syndrome kind of thing all the time. Yeah. But I mean, I used to have that. I had that as as just a business owner starting off, you know. You get, I tell people the realization that with Optimize You that I had, that, you know, because everything just was kind of falling into place, and I had these great partners and finding these people, and you know, Jessica lives 3 miles away from me. I never knew her, but here we are together 3 years later, and we just opened up another one together. You know, like all these kinds of things kind of happened together, but none of that, all that was just kind of you think it's going to happen, but it's not going to happen. I swear to you, the day that I opened up our lab centrifuge, it's like sitting on the floor and sitting it in my lap, and I was like, oh shit. Like this is real. Yeah. Like this is what is going to spin down labs so we can do our job, and it's ours. Yeah. It's not, I'm not taking it to this department in the hospital where I just received it at the receiving dock, right? Yep. Or this is for 12 or 13 guys that own this practice. This is ours, you know, and molding that and making it into what it is, and then having the privilege to like do stuff like this and everything. It's just like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. So thinking that it was, again, some sort of like predetermined path or whatever, I don't believe that. I just think that there's this ball of opportunities, and what you grab leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing, leads to the next thing.
I mean, I live by the collaboration is innovation mantra, where like I'm a yapper. I talk a lot. I talk too long, frankly, most of the time, and end up giving myself anxiety on how to end a conversation. You know,
to wrap this up, wrap it up.
And I'm like, how do I put a bow on this?
Okay, Marcus, we're waiting in the car for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm the one still talking, and I don't know how to stop, but I don't want to be a rude, abrupt conversation ender. So it's like the little goofy stuff like that. I feel like it's easy to carry like certain weights and like pressures with the job, and at the same time, I think I almost have this lack of guilt from the lack of weight that I carry, because it's such a, like, I don't know, it's such an open creative space to where I don't feel like I'm in a compactor. And I think creativity is built in a box, but I think like you need to be able to explore the box too.
Yeah, and some people don't function well in that kind of. So you would think that it would be kind of intuitive that a creative, you know, you give them a sandbox and just say go.
Yeah,
that would be like a dream for them, but it's not, you know.
At times it's
a dream for 30 minutes.
Right.
Then the reality sets in.
And then you have whiteboards that look like this, and like all this stuff, so and all those things we can kind of touch on throughout other episodes.